Welcome to Archery Haven. We're going deep on Pennsylvania's archery season for 2025.
Ooh, 2025.
And let me tell you, listeners, you are going to want to grab your bow for this one.
Yeah.
We're talking a potential 30 deer per square mile in some areas.
Wow, that is a lot of deer.
Absolutely. So let's break down some of the need-to-know info. First up, the archery season.
Okay.
It's a marathon, not a sprint,
Oh, I like that.
Runs from early September all the way through January.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, but there are some breaks in there.
Okay.
Of course.
So you're not just...
Yeah, gotta get your breath.
Still got it.
Take your breath. And speaking of timing, now you might think hunting is just sunrise to sunset,
Right.
but those legal hours can actually shift
Oh, really?
in the early and late seasons.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Why would that be?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
What's going on there? We got to look into that. But while we're on the topic of all the exciting things you can hunt during archery season,
Yes.
we've got white-tailed deer, we've got wild turkey, black bear.
Those are the classics.
Oh, and did I mention elk?
Elk. In Pennsylvania.
Yeah, elk.
Wow.
I had no idea.
But before you go picturing yourself, hauling out this massive elk, let's talk about
Okay,
the licenses.
right.
You're going to need...
Gotta be legal.
Yes, you got to be legal. So a general hunting license,
Mm.
of course.
Of course.
But then on top of that, you're going to need specific archery permits.
No.
Now, here's a really cool thing, though. If you're thinking about getting somebody you know into archery,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania's got this awesome mentored hunting program.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so this program basically lets people hunt with you, even if they haven't completed like a hunter ed class yet.
Wow. So you're saying, like, I could take my nephew out
Exactly.
without him.
It's a great way to share, the love of archery.
Exactly. And speaking of sharing, have you ever noticed how those license prices differ for residents versus non-residents?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, I've always wondered why that is.
Yeah, it makes you think, right?
Yeah, like, what's the reason behind that?
Well, we should look into that, but while we're on the topic of the finer details,
Okay.
let's not forget about our equipment.
Right. Our tools of the trade.
Yeah, so in Pennsylvania, your bow, it has to have a minimum draw weight of 35 pounds.
35 pounds. Okay, and why is that?
This is a critical regulation because it makes sure that your arrow has enough power for a clean and humane harvest.
Ah, so it's really all about the ethics, right?
Exactly. It's not just about hitting the target. It's about doing it right.
Right.
Now, to bag those deer, we got to find them first, right?
Okay, where do we go?
We'll get this. Pennsylvania has over 1.5 million acres
What?
of state game lands specifically managed for hunting.
1.5 million acres. Are you serious?
I am serious. It's mind-boggling.
That's incredible. So many different places to explore.
Right. But before you just go rushing out into those lands,
Oh, yeah.
there's one very crucial step we cannot skip.
What's that?
Pre-season scouting.
Scouting, yeah.
Think of it like detective work,
Oh, okay, I like that.
You're gathering intel. You're figuring out the deer's behavior.
So we're talking about things like trail cameras.
Trail cameras, yeah.
Okay.
And then, there's also just good old-fashioned observation.
Right, just getting out there and looking.
Exactly. So you find a good vantage point,
Okay.
get your binoculars,
Your binocs, yep.
and just watch those deer.
Just be a deer watcher.
Just watch them. You'll be amazed at what you can learn by observing their natural patterns.
Yeah, you can learn a lot just by watching.
Absolutely. And then don't forget to take notes.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Jot down those observations in a journal, track those deer tendencies.
Ah, so like, where they're feeding, what trails they're using.
Exactly. It's all about turning those observations into actionable intel.
Right, so you can actually use that information when you're out there hunting.
Exactly. And speaking of strategy,
Okay.
we got to talk about tree stands and ground blinds.
Oh, yeah, those are crucial
They are.
for archery hunting.
Yeah. They're essential for getting you close to the action while staying concealed.
But I imagine there are some rules about like when you can put those up and take them down, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can't just leave them up all year round, can you?
No, definitely not.
There are specific time frames for each wildlife management unit.
Makes sense. So it's all about safety and making sure we're not, leaving any hazards out there in the woods.
Exactly. Plus, we want to minimize our impact on the environment. Right. Leave no trace behind.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of leaving no trace, let's talk about something that's really important: harvest reporting.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's not just a formality, it's actually a legal requirement.
It is. You are legally required to report You harvest accurately and promptly, and it's actually super easy to do.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they've made it really convenient.
How
You
so?
can do it online, you can do it by phone, or you can even do it in person.
Wow. So many options.
Exactly. Pick whichever method is easiest for you, but just make sure you do it
Right.
promptly.
Got it.
It's really crucial for those wildlife biologists to keep track of those deer populations and make sure everything's healthy and sustainable out there.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've covered a ton of ground already today. We've talked about licenses, equipment, prime hunting locations, the importance of scouting, but the adventure doesn't stop there.
No, it doesn't. In part 2, we're going to be diving into some really game-changing strategies and tactics that are going to take your hunting to the next level. So stay tuned for that.
Welcome back to our deep dive on Pennsylvania's archery season.
Now, speaking of success,
Mhm.
before we move on, I got to ask,
Okay.
if you could pick just one piece of gear
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
to really level up your archery game, what would it be?
For me, it all comes down to optics.
Optics, yeah.
A really good pair of binoculars
Oh,
or,
yeah. Like a spotting scope?
spotting scope, yeah.
Yeah.
That can make a huge difference.
They really can. It's like having superpowers out there.
It is.
You can spot those little movements. You can really assess the terrain. And most importantly,
Right.
you could be absolutely sure about your target.
Yeah, and think about how valuable they are for scouting, too.
Oh, yeah?
Like, picture yourself, you're glassing a field at dusk.
Mm-hmm.
With a good pair of optics, you might catch a glimpse of that buck moving in the shadows.
That's the intel you need right there.
Yeah, that kind of intel can make or break your hunt.
Absolutely. But seeing the deer, that's only half the battle, right?
Right.
We got to talk about scent control.
Oh, scent control. That's huge.
I mean, deer, they've got an incredible sense of smell.
They really do. It's unbelievable how good their sense of smell is.
It's mind-blowing.
They can sniff you out from, like, hundreds of yards away if the wind is right.
Yeah, you're right. So it's not just about masking your scent.
Right.
It's about,
It's about playing the wind.
using the wind to your advantage.
Exactly.
You almost got to become like a student of the wind.
Yeah, you got to learn how it flows through different types of terrain, how thermals rise and fall,
Right, good stuff.
and how to position yourself,
Yeah.
so you're not getting busted.
And then there's all the scent eliminating gear.
Oh, yeah, all the sprays and detergents and special clothing.
It's a whole science in itself.
It really is. But it's not just about the products you use,
Right.
Your personal hygiene plays a big role, too.
It really does.
Little things like showering with scent-free soap, storing your hunting clothes separately.
Mm-hmm.
Those things can make a big difference.
It's all about the details, right? Creating that comprehensive scent control system.
Exactly. Speaking of details,
Okay.
we can't forget about the most crucial one,
What's that?
shot placement.
Ah, yes, shot placement.
This is it, this is the culmination of all your hard work, your scouting, your patience.
It all comes down to this, knowing your anatomy.
Yeah, you got to understand the vital areas of a deer and be
Right.
able to visualize where that arrow needs to go.
Exactly.
Practice is key here. Spend time at the range,
Yeah.
hone your skills,
Get those reps in.
become one with your equipment.
Yeah, it's about being confident in your ability to make a clean, ethical shot,
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
no matter the distance.
At various distances and different conditions,
Exactly.
you got to be ready for anything.
Now, let's lighten things up a bit.
Okay.
Talk about the thrill of the chase.
Oh, yeah, the adrenaline.
What is it about archery hunting that gets your heart pumping?
For me, it's that combination of skill and strategy, and the unpredictability of the wild.
Right.
It's like playing chess in the
And
forest.
I love that analogy.
It's a mental game as much as it is a physical one.
It really is, and there's just nothing quite like that feeling of
Yeah.
harvesting an animal with a bow and arrow,
It's a primal thing, It's a connection to our ancestors.
It really is. It's a testament to your patience, to your precision, and to that connection you have with nature.
Absolutely. It's a privilege,
Yeah.
and we need to treat it as such.
Couldn't agree more. So let's shift gears a bit. Look towards the future.
Okay, the future of archery.
Yeah. What do you think the future holds for archery hunting?
Well, technology is definitely going to keep playing a role, right?
Oh, for sure.
But I think the biggest advancements will be in how we use that technology, to manage wildlife populations and
Right.
make the whole hunting experience better for everyone.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine using drones to conduct deer surveys or,
Yeah.
monitor habitat health.
That would be amazing.
The possibilities, they're endless.
It's exciting to think about, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how technology can really enhance our understanding of the natural world
Mm,
and help us become better stewards.
right. Better stewards of the land.
But even with all these advancements,
Yeah.
I think there's one thing that'll always remain constant,
And what's that?
that deep connection
Mm-hmm.
between hunters and the natural
Oh,
world.
absolutely. That's the heart of it all, right?
It is. It's about being out in nature, challenging yourself physically and mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and really honoring those traditions that have been passed down through generations.
It's about appreciating the balance of life and death
Yeah,
that sustains our ecosystems.
so well said.
So, before we wrap up this part,
Okay.
I have a question for our listeners out there.
Right.
If you could give one piece of advice to somebody who's just starting out on
Oh,
their
gee.
archery journey, what would it be?
That's a great question to ponder, and we're going to explore that and a whole lot more when we come back for part 3 of our deep dive.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Licenses, equipment, tactics, the thrill of the chase, all that good stuff.
The whole 9 yards.
But there's one more crucial element.
Oh, absolutely. What's that?
The heart and soul of hunting.
Yeah.
The ethics.
Mm-hmm.
We can't overlook that.
No, we can't.
It's about more than just, bagging a trophy, right?
Right.
It's about respecting the animals, the land,
Yeah,
and ourselves.
absolutely. So let's unpack that a little bit.
Hmm.
What does ethical hunting mean to you?
Well, for me, it starts with fair chase.
Fair chase, yeah.
Giving the animal a sporting chance,
Oh,
using our skills and our knowledge to outwit them,
Right.
not to overwhelm them.
right. So we're not talking about baiting or spotlighting.
No.
Those tactics that give us an unfair advantage.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about embracing the challenge,
Mm-hmm.
respecting the animal's instincts,
Right.
and appreciating that balance, between predator and prey.
But ethical hunting, it goes beyond the hunt itself, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's about how we treat the land.
Yeah, minimizing our impact,
Mhm.
respecting the ecosystem,
Right.
leaving the woods just as pristine as we found them.
Exactly. Leaving no trace behind.
Exactly. We talked about those 1.5 million acres of state game lands.
Yeah.
That's a shared resource.
It is.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
We need to protect that.
For future generations.
Yeah, for future generations.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the environment. It's about respecting other people too, right?
But yeah, for sure.
Other hunters,
hmm
non-hunters.
Sharing the woods responsibly, being courteous,
Mhm.
avoiding conflicts.
It's all part of it.
That's what being a true sportsman is all about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about advice for new hunters last part.
Yeah.
What's that one crucial thing that a beginner should really understand about ethical hunting?
Well, I think it all boils down to education and self-reflection, Take the time to learn the regulations, understand the science
Right.
behind wildlife management, and really think about those principles
Yeah.
of fair chase.
It's not just knowing the rules.
Right.
It's understanding why they exist,
Exactly.
why certain practices are considered unethical,
Mhm.
how our actions impact that balance.
Pit balance.
Yeah. And it's about challenging ourselves,
And
right?
that's challenging.
To do better,
To be better.
to be more ethical.
Mm-hmm. Questioning our motives,
Yeah.
striving to improve,
Mhm.
holding ourselves to the highest standards.
It's a journey.
It is. It's a lifelong journey.
It is. Now, we've talked a lot about, the physical aspects of archery hunting, but what about the mental game,
Oh, yeah, that's a big one too.
right? Those long hours in the stand, the anticipation, the setbacks,
Mhm.
it can really test your patience.
It can test your resolve.
Absolutely.
Mental toughness
Yeah.
is just as important as physical stamina in this sport.
You got to be prepared for that.
You got to be able to stay focused,
Right.
manage your expectations, and bounce back from those disappointments.
So how do you develop that mental fortitude?
Well, visualization is a powerful tool.
Okay.
Spend a few minutes each day,
Mhm.
just picturing yourself making that perfect shot,
Right.
feeling that adrenaline,
Yeah.
experiencing the satisfaction
Right.
of a successful hunt.
That mental rehearsal, it can make all the
It
difference.
can build confidence
Yeah.
and prepare you for the real thing.
And it's not just visualization, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's also positive self-talk
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
instead of dwelling on those mistakes.
Right. Focus on your strengths.
Right.
Celebrate those small victories. Remind yourself why you love this sport.
It's about building resilience and enjoying the journey.
Exactly. It's not always about the destination.
Right.
It's about the journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've covered a ton of ground today. Everything from licenses and equipment to ethics and the mental game.
The whole spectrum.
But this is just the beginning.
Just scratching the surface.
Exactly. There's always more to learn.
Always more to learn.
More skills to master.
More adventures to be had.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep having fun out there. For those of you who want to go even deeper, head over to archeryhaven.com. You'll find a ton of information there to help you plan your most successful archery season.